It's right up ahead, but let's make sure we weren't followed first.
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus far.
Huh, very good. But let's not let our guard down for now.
I shall find rooms for our respected guests.
Thank you, Malus. Now, let's continue, Traveler.
This is your base?
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say it's the best we have.
Well, our funds have been a little tight lately. After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people, that does sound like it's worth it.
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was in charge a few years ago. I'm afraid I'm not quite his equal.
Your father... He was the previous boss of Spina di Rosula, right? How did he...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to explain.
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And as partners, this is something I hope they can understand. My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful in the streets. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but rumor has it that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender, determined to die in the arena. 3 years later, I still don't understand why he did that. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, he gave up his chance to defend himself. The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined to get to the bottom of that case.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't found a single new clue in my countless reviews of the investigation records. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, they must know something. I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend, I must get to the truth. If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now, here I am investigating his death. You really are a handful.
Demoiselle, please, if there is anything I can do, anything at all.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. There are none whom I respect more than the two of you, Demoiselle. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case for him to be dubbed Callus the Unfaithful. Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our strained finances at present.
Wait, if Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least be a little suspicious when he was accused?
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something exclusive to people from Fontain, really. Everyone's like that. People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
But how could... never mind. If Callus was really falsely accused, we have to find the truth. He didn't deserve to have that happen to him.
There is one other thing. Master Callus's opponent in the duel was Ms. Clorand.
Oh, her? Well, then, isn't that as good as saying that she was the one who killed him? Yeah, that's not the sort of thing that you can just let go and move on from.
Ms. Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. If her opponent doesn't yield, she will not stop either. She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him, but seeing how he was resolute in the arena, there was only ever one choice she could have made.
It's not that I don't understand her at all, but I just can't deal with this yet.
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how you feel. You don't have to force yourself to do that.
Afterward, Ms. Clorand told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensure Demoiselle Navia's safety. Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me? All right, anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Thanks. You two should go and rest. This was quite a day after all.
Yeah. Paimon's...
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure you
Paimon slept so well. Huh? Navia? Where did the other two go?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back? Were you waiting here the whole time?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating yesterday regarding the name Vacher.
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such critical new evidence appear?
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for everyone just now, huh?
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But that does prove that this Vacher person is a key witness in the incident.
Does that mean we're too late, though?
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten. No, and that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. A place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are... If the Oceanid you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able to find...
So Nervalette maintains an archive of case files? Whew. Guess in that case, let's... Aren't you coming along, Navia?
No, it's nothing. Let's go see the Honorable Chief Justice. The Palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with official...
This place does look pretty heavily guarded. Guess that...
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or who you might be related to.
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep. Paimon can tell.
If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit. Unlike some, we're busy, so please leave a few...
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at the trial of the great magician Linny.
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird. You must be Linny's attorneys.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Huh. Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official business. You can trust us.
All right then, I'll let you through. The Chief Justice is just inside.
Thanks so...
Please come in.
Sorry to barge in, Monsieur Nervalette. We only lied to get in because we didn't know any other way.
It's all right. Please let me know how I may be of assistance to you.
So you're not mad at us?
We're looking for a man called Vacher. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may be able to unearth some key information on the case.
Ah, I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the files.
Who knew that Nervalette would be so easy to talk to?
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vacher has been involved in any case, criminal or civil, in the past several years. There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Traveler, what if it was really just a dream?
Is that so? All right then. Thank you so much, Monsieur Nervalette. We'll take our leave now.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a truly exceptional man. We deeply regret his passing.
What are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some tendril of regret? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind your words. You only said those things because you felt like you should. It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you hold so dear. If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you call a stop to the duel? Why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just, there are still so many things I never got to tell him. So many questions. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the true...
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things in your heart and never say a word to anyone. It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never express anything. Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Navia,
I'm fine.
you're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building? And there shouldn't...
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder...
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? Do you think the rain could have affected the crime scene? That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait. You don't mean...
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water? And then go... Yeah! And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he...
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. You're completely right. All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new...
Yeah! We're gonna make progress for sure this time!
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head over by... All right, then I'll wait for you at Poisson.
The sun is out. Our work's done for the day. Shall we take a stroll?
Welcome to the Clementine Line Aquabus. This boat tour will take you to the magnificent court of Fontain, the most important city in our nation. I'm Ava, and I'll be your tour guide for this trip. Even though I'm not as reliable as Elfan from the Navia line, I'll still do my very best. And if you're dissatisfied with anything, feel free to let me know right away. Oh, wait a sec. Please contact a staff member with your feedback after reaching the station, and we will address your concerns as soon as possible. Back on topic. The destination of this trip will be the Court of Fontain. If you'd like to learn more about the latest technological developments in Fontaine, the hottest new trends in cuisine, or upcoming sensational trials, please subscribe to the Steambird. The Steambird runs lots of fantastic serialized novels, including the thriller Great Detective Herlock, which recently reached its dramatic conclusion. Right at the very end, Herlock faces off against the real mastermind, revealed to be the assistant, Miss Jacoba, in a duel at the old site of Lilia Cruces Ordo. I couldn't stop my feelers from shaking. Oh no. Did I spoil it for you? Oops. Anyway, coming up ahead on your left-hand side is Mercy Village, the hometown of all Melusines, myself included. It's deep below the ground, just over there. Speed of light! Hey!
must leave no stone.
Quietly now.
Incoming! Cut to the chase!
Busted.
Steady as stone. Don't blink! Hey! Leave it all to me. Higher, higher, dance on fire! Oh, what a cute treasure coffin!
Whoa! What a huge ship! Why would a ship be anchored at a place?
There's no need to be so surprised. While it may look like a ship, it's actually Spina di Rosula's headquarters. My father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our taste in exterior... A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di Rosula had a glorious past. Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in the sewers. But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself, she's been convinced.
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all. It's our main base, our home. we're back!
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and our most important partners. You said before that you still had some business at the court. What brings you back to Boston?
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You see, what if my father's case had... You still remember, right, Malus? On that night, it was raining?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's. Both were what you'd call...
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain popularity and was... At a glance, it was a kind of drink... Malus, we're back!
Apologies for the wait. You said before that you still had...
About... You still remember...
Yes, the case was quite simple.
Could you tell us a...
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called... At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be used to produce some kind of...
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created using water from the primordial sea. If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your... And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety, while lacking energy to do anything. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath. Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation and put an end to the problem once and for all.
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. Recognizing that, my father decided the man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his country. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard.
Huh? How did that happen?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, looking back on it though, I now believe the most important clue was...
Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some... But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong...
You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the right track to figuring...
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. I think this third person is probably the key. On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, our opponent is insidious and cruel. Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, there is no need to follow your father's path.
If that's indeed what he wished for, was I not the closest person to him? And yet, what was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the end? Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Nothing has... Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day, and certainly not now. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls, for the victims, and for myself.
Davia...
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and more importantly, demoiselle, I think you're also ready to take this on.
So you do know something else, Malus?
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew of the connection between Synth and the serial disappearances case. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was...
What?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness. The doctors told him that he had And the serial disappearances case caused him great. 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But once knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told some members of Spina di Rosula about the detail. But as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all...
Right, so nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, the other side has not tried to take Demoiselle's life.
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to look sick to me.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful was still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
So he chose to die in silence, so that he could protect me.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, Demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you was not a parasol, but if Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake of everyone involved, I'm sure he'd be extremely proud.
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight? No. He might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be able to understand him. Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now? Yeah. I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just lived out my life without a care in the world. But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. In this... Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared?
It's the location where synth is produced. When he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the but if you want to use it against the enemy, you'll...
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storm?
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious... There's no telling what might be lying in wait, but a single visit there. The worst case would be that we leave empty-handed.
Then, in that case...
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case.
Huh. That's true. Seems my fault, but things are different now. It should be a lot...
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this.
I am the butler, after all. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my time keeping secrets before...
Thank you for all of that, Malus.
Let me think. When I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be... After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, the first is Florent, Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also, thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plan. There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence. In the beginning, they were only reselling some...
So, they're like a...
Yes, you can... It's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to report to the local authorities. Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could theoretically always plan one step ahead.
I see. These are all people who I communicate with. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against...
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert...
Of course. And thank you, Malus. You've provided us with a lot of great information.
You're too kind, my lady. I'm just doing my duty. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocent. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. If it might help, you could also pay them a visit.
Aw, thank you so much, Malus.
A new case awaits, my dear partner. I hope we can work together to uncover the truth and end...
It is settled, then. Please
Thank you for arranging everything for us,
Excuse me, miss. Do you need any...
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time. After what happened, I didn't know how I was supposed to face the two of you.
Ah, if it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rosula sent us a lot of mora and support. I understood your guilt and apology to be genuine.
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand the kind of pain that comes with losing a father so needlessly.
You don't understand at all.
I didn't know how to face you, because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation gift. I know only the full truth could bring closure to you.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment, but you don't... On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have...
Would you mind sharing it with me? I really can't believe that my father could...
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back, he had many regrets. So when Mr. Callus, he tried to be as...
They found out...
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only... I don't know that for sure. But you could say that's the conclusion I eventually came to. Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callus had all... Even if he fired the shot that...
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy? If he did the... Papa always wanted to be a good man, so...
Well, things aren't always as they seem. You still feel like your papa...
Yeah, Papa was a...
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad, regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword, he must have done so.
Oh.
Thank you for everything you've told me. I will definitely find the truth.
Thank you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is really...
You really think so? That's the first time anyone...
Are you okay, Navia?
I'm fine. Don't worry.
Let's investigate the 3 suspects next. Florence should be nearby, and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in the city.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the op-
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic, I'm sure journalists will milk it for all it's worth.
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened with my father, it was raining outside. After my partner here put the dots together for me, I feel like we should try to Can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that night?
Let me think. Mr. Callus was feeling pretty upbeat that day. So after that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. Who knew that we would hear 2 gunshots ring out right after? My first reaction was that Mr. Callus's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash toward the scene. But when I got there, it was already too late. Mr. Callus was standing over a dead body with a gun in his hands.
So you also remember 2 gunshots then?
Indeed. The guard said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. But I've never really bought that explanation. Reason being, Mr. Callus had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to confirm that before running to the scene. But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other guns on his person. About the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned, do you think there was a third person there?
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. So he would also have no reason to bring an extra gun with him. The gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying, Mr. But hold on. If that's what had happened, then why didn't he share the truth with any of us? He didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine, and chose instead to prove his honor. Did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing someone dissolve right in front of his eyes?
About that, Malouse told me a thing or two. So, I think I can understand. I'll tell you everything once the-
I understand. Then, I'll leave. And if I may just say one more thing, many people have left, but it was Mr. Callus's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of Spina di Rosula and live the life no matter what others might say. He'll always be the man I respect the most.
Don't worry. I will definitely find the truth. You and all our other comrades at the Hey, Thierry! It's me!
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss Na?
Oh, so you've...
Oh, okay.
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that?
I mean, where I work, Callus did a fantastic job. It would be next to impossible for me Anyway, enough chit-chat. Are these 2 friends of yours?
Yes. These 2. What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Linny...
I get if you want to go through the original files from your...
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you.
Of course. With that, why do you ask?
Well, you see, just recently, we were attacked by a horde of... So, if you, hypothetically...
Then you think too highly of my abilities. Dispatching mecha is very different from controlling them. If I had to make an analogy, when you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but if you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind and ignore you completely. Removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think, so I can promise you, those mecha were they're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super rich.
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Oh, well, thank you for the vote of confidence. Jokes aside, I'll be staying in the city for a little while, so just come find...
Hello. How may I help you? I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please let him know? You can just... Sure. I will let him know right away.
Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as I used to be.
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. There's no need to stress. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what happened in the Opera House.
Yes, I've never seen anything so strange.
Oh, you were at the Opera House too?
That's right. I went there with Navia to see the magic show. Who knew it would turn into a whole... I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing work. Quite impressive. To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf, I can already imagine everyone in Fontain discussing your exploits over a few glasses of wine.
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the talk of drunkards.
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is as a nation. Everyone loves drama.
Uncle Marcel, you've also noticed that other thing, right? The fact that humans...
Yes, I was reminded of your father's...
Exactly. I still don't have much solid proof, but
Oh, and what makes you say that?
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me to drink water. If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't...
Oh, you're giving us too...
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will... If anyone dares to let...
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. Do you have any new thoughts on my father's case?
About that. Sorry, the Confrérie was responsible. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot.
Oh, it's okay. No need to put...
Sounds good. Just let me... All my wealth comes from
We've talked to all three suspects, purely based on their conversation.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single conversation's all that's needed to find them out, then my father wouldn't have needed to investigate the case for so many years. Anyway, even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's still compile what we were able to find.
But where should we start? Ah, you're right! Florent mentioned that Callus probably only ended up with the gun because of...
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered, and that he had no choice before he left home that day. If I...
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Oh? And why is that?
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he...
So, what would make more sense from his perspective? Makes sense. But without evidence, that's still just a theory. Besides Jacques, the attack from the guard... It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the sequel.
Do you think he knew, even then, that we'd follow this lead to the...
Given everything that's happened since... but who among the three suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex? Thierry, you say? But I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us about the mecha.
Yeah. Had he actually tampered with the mecha, we'd be... If the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out.
Uncle Marcel? And with funds from the Confrérie, he could also afford... Still, really... Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of mora and energy to fight his own synth business? Florent? It is true that he was closest to my father, but as Spina di Rosula's advisor, his work mostly deals with personnel and security. So So
you're saying he's too broke to afford a mecha army?
Exactly. He can't. And even if he could, who could it be? You know, if you think everything through, Uncle Marcel is indeed the most...
Could we be missing other suspects? Malus didn't know about the people turning into water thing when...
Malus has always been very reliable, and his judgment of others' trustworthiness has been fair and well considered. When he laid out his case for the three, the rationale he gave me made a lot of sense as well. The suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs, has the means to dispatch Mecha to assassinate us. Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how...
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
Yes. Malus did say that charging straight in there would be extremely risky. But we need far more solid proof before we...
Navia, here you are. Oh, I've been looking for you.
Huh? Aren't you the guy from the god?
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus.
Wasn't that place built specifically?
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called Tartaglia.
What? Is that someone you know?
Yeah, we know him. Maybe even a little.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case.
Wait, how? None of our investigation...
That's what I thought was strange about it, so I came to... If the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get the guards to support...
Right, because they'll think they've...
Yeah, and it'll be a lot...
I understand. Huh? Split up? What do you mean? Just as expected of my partner. Since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, the culprit's attention will be focused on Irenaeus, leaving... You're right. This is our best opportunity. All right then, let's do this. I'll stall them at the Opera House and charge Marcel... I won't have any chance of making that charge stick, though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to you to make it back in time and hand the decisive evidence to me.
We'll help you, just like you helped us in Linny's trial.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
I'm ready.
Malus, Silver, when did you two get here?
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson and figured that you might require... It's our hope that your confidence will be bolstered with the two of us.
Thank you so much. Then, let's make haste for Irenaeus.
See you then! Now that Navia has set out for Irenaeus, we should also get going. The location has already been marked on the map, so let's head over. Huh. According to Malus's info, the synth production base is underwater. Let's go and try to find the entrance. it. Huh. So this is the entrance that leads to the synth production base. Ah, you're right. An important place like this is bound. Navia's probably arguing up a storm right now to...
It would appear that I must repeat my question again, Mr. Tartaglia. Do you accept the charge that you are the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case?
To be perfectly honest, I don't understand your country's complicated court system, or the reason why I'm being charged with something I've never even heard of. However, I did hear that people who have been charged can choose to participate in a duel to clear their name, in which case, as long as I accept the charge, I can have an all-out fight with that champion duelist Clorend, right? I've got to admit, that's one of the most enticing offers I've ever received. When I privately sparred with her last time, she was obviously holding back. Real disappointing.
Hey! Don't you understand? You're currently the prime suspect for a major case.
Oh? Sounds like the Hydro Archon wants to lecture me on the ways of the Opera House. Then why don't you duel me too? I'm the kind of student that learns best in the heat of battle.
No. That's not what I meant.
Alas, it would appear that communication with the defendant is going poorly. And we have made... In that case, let me explain everything from the very beginning again. The goal...
That case had nothing to do with him! You've got the wrong man!
Huh? What's going on? Why is she interjecting again?
I told you it couldn't be one of the Fatui Harbingers.
Miss Navia, this is the second time you've interrupted the court proceedings. I only tolerated your behavior last time because you were able to... But that was an exception rather than standard court protocol. I can very well charge you with contempt of court.
Oh, please. Did you ever think I had any respect for this place's pointlessly... We can put that discussion aside for now. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to charge the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case. And if my charges prove true, then Tartaglia here will be...
Oh, a young lady has charged in and offered to clear my name. How fascinating. Well, I'd gotten half bored to death by all these rules and... So, Your Honor, is there nothing else for me to do now?
You may take a seat for now in the audience, but that doesn't mean the suspicions against you have been lifted. Now then, Miss Navia, who is the person you would like to charge instead?
That person is... Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières!
Huh? What confrérie? Never heard of them.
I've heard of them, but weren't they Spina di Rosula's sister?
Oh, is this going to be a friends to enemies type situation?
Please let me remind you, Miss Navia, that charging someone is an incredibly serious matter. Committing to the charge also means taking on the legal responsibility, and if the charge fails, depending on the circumstances, you may also be charged with the crime of making a false accusation.
Yes,
In that case, I declare the charge to be valid. Miss Navia and attorneys, please take your places on the court. Members of the guards, please contact Mr. Marcel right away so that he may stand trial. Mr. Marcel.
Apologies. It all just happened so quickly. I think an attorney won't be necessary. This is probably just a misunderstanding between me and Nav.
Very well. In that case, since both sides have now arrived...
I would like to take everyone back to 3 years ago, to the case of Callus the Unfaithful. Only through elucidating what really happened in that case...
Navia, do you really think that I was the one who killed your father? Come on, why would I do that? Callus was my benefactor, and remember, both you and I only ran... If that's enough to make me a suspect, wouldn't that make
I think there's no point in getting into the specifics right now. The audience...
Exactly correct, Your Honor. I must refresh everyone's memory about that case before I can explain my charge.
I see. In which case, I will recount the findings about that case as originally recorded by Maison Gardiennage. On the day of the murder, Spina di Rosula hosted a large banquet in a country. During the banquet, all attending guests heard 2 gunshots from the... When the guests arrived at the scene, they found the primary suspect, Callus. The guards' investigation did not recover any other firearms from the scene. As a result, the suspect did not dispute this conclusion, and also declined to Callus was defeated by champion duelist. These are the known facts about the case.
The one with the motive to kill was Jacques, not my father. In truth, the third person shot Jacques first, and was shot in turn by my father when my father's... After that, the true culprit turned the third person into water.
Thank you for the summary, Your Honor.
However, we should... The testimony of the victim's family confirms that Jacques had thoughts of a However, in the end, he reconsidered, and instead shared everything with Callus. Unfortunately for Jacques, the true culprit had already considered this possibility, and had... This assassin first shot Jacques, then turned to shoot Callus, only for Callus to wrestle the gun from him and kill him instead. A pile of clothing was found at the scene. The guards once believed they were, but now it is clear that the clothes were proof that there was a third person at the scene. And that since it was raining that day, the culprit was confident that they could use the rain to wash away all Realizing this, the true culprit caused the hired...
So that's what happened. Wait, you're telling me something as dangerous as water from the primordial...
What a great theory! It also explains Callus's and Jacques' respective motives.
Mr. Marcel, you are the one being charged with the crime. You should provide a rebuttal if you wish to prove your innocence.
Ah, but I think I agree with everything Navia just said. In fact, there was nothing in her speech that directly implicated me.
Then, may I ask some questions? In my opinion, we won. Do you have the evidence?
I'm afraid not.
Boo! If you don't have any evidence, you should just go home.
I may not have the evidence with me, but I know where I could go to collect it. If we look up the deserted clothes against a record of people who went missing around the same time, we should be able... Considering the serial disappearances case, the guards probably kept careful records.
That makes sense to me. Monsieur Neuvillette, I would consider this to be a...
Why do I feel like Farina's acting a little different?
Maybe she's scared of embarrassing her.
Alternatively, she's become more diligent after charging.
My second question has to do with the ensuing duel. If the truth is indeed as you described, then why didn't Mr. Callus explain himself in court? If he had testified that a person had been dissolved...
I've thought about this too, and the answer is actually pretty simple. He felt there were things that... The dissolving power of water from the primordial sea. My father could have exposed it for all to see, but he chose to take it to the grave. At that time, Spina di Rosula was in dire straits, and his reputation had already been What was certain, however, was that it would paint a gigantic target on my back.
Boss once told me that Demoiselle had already been selected as the next target of the serial disappearances case.
What?
If the secret had gotten out, the culprit would have fought an all-out war with Espina right there and then. I wouldn't have been the... Of course, the guards might eventually figure out the truth of the matter and determine that we were in the right. But what good would that do? How can a hollow verdict protect anyone? Had this opera house ever given my father any kind of confidence in its brand of justice, Spina di Rosula would have had no but by staying silent, we retained the ability to deter our opponents and continue. I was able to become Spina di Rosula's president, which made me harder to target, and once I have figured out the truth and stepped up to the challenge, I will do what this opera house cannot, and restore my father's truth and—
So, you mean to say, your father—
That's right.
Do you have any proof?
Of course. All you need— I don't need your apology, your guilt, or your support from the shadows. But since he entrusted his will to—
so, during—
Yes, I did. As a champion duelist, I've fought many battles and taken a countless number of dishonored lives. In my line of work, I've seen all kinds of people give their all for the faintest hope to continue living. Some were determined, others passionate. Just one look and I can tell if a duelist is hoping to live or if they're looking to die. I hereby swear on my name and honor as a champion duelist that Mr. Callus never intended to leave the ring alive.
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions. It appears there really are good—
I concur. However, Miss Navia, you still have not explained the link between your father's case and the—
Right? What she said was fascinating, but kind of beside the point.
Wait, weren't they just talking about the serial disappearances case?
Of course, Your Honor. The two cases are connected via a matter of— In my father's case, the culprit intended to kill both Jacques and Callus. As a result, they planned to act and, at the end of Linny's trial, the culprit also only dissolved the victim in front of everyone. The culprit could only time their actions so precisely if they were already at the scene. Coincidentally, Marcel attended both the banquet and the trial.
So that's why you suspected me. Even after hearing your reasoning, I still can't help but find it a little preposterous. I'm used to it, though. You've always been an impulsive and sentimental child, Navia. It's one of your most endearing traits.
No need to appeal to pathos.
I won't try to refute your points one by one, but even if everything you just said was true, on top of that, does a person have to be physically present to control the timing? Can't someone remotely monitor the place?
I don't know what she can say to that.
I know that even with that, you might still think you can reduce the list of suspects with some further— Alas, who won't feel at least a little hurt by an accusation of murder from a girl you see as your own daughter? But if I were to dismiss this completely, you'd also think I'm not being considerate of your feelings. Ah well, let Uncle Marcel teach you another lesson. Do you know what the biggest flaw in your reasoning is?
I suppose you're gonna tell me anyways.
It's timing again. I'm a businessman by trade. From that standpoint, there's no reason for me to kidnap young women. It's a high-risk action with nothing to gain. In addition, I left my home in Snezhnaya when I was young to come to Poisson and work in some trade. My business only thrived when I received Callus's patron. But the disappearances began before I ever stepped foot in Fontain.
I do apologize, demoiselle.
No, it's not your fault.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Would you like to check the date of my first business license against the first known case of the serial? You can also take a look at my border entry records, or ask my friends and family when I left Snezhnaya for the first time. Could those records and testimonies do something to appease the
Seems like she got the wrong guy.
At this rate, Navia will be convicted for falsely accusing him.
I think you've done a superb job of dissecting your father's feelings as he neared the end of his life. But aren't you going against all of his wishes and expectations right now? He wished for you to become more rational, collected, and conscientious, instead of dwelling only on your own feelings. Once you've learned to be more considerate of others' feelings, and to stop rushing headlong into things, you'd have met most—
This isn't just about me, and it never has been. The biggest difference between me and the rest of the victims is that I still have the ability to search for the truth. While that same agency has the people whose families were destroyed by synth abuse, the people who lost their loved ones to many people's images are flashed. And whose image? Is it a man named Vacher? Oh, so you do know that name.
Merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard of.
I was waiting for you to say that. With sword comes shadow. Hit. Huh. Hit. Ha. Hit. Huh. Speed of light. Huh. Huh. Hit. Yeah. Hit. Huh.
Whoa! The floor is going up! Is it because of this mechanism in the middle? That guy really prepared a lot of stuff for this place. Go up, but Paimon doesn't see a way. Let's take a look around. Maybe we'll find a hidden mechanism that'll show us the way up. The water level is rising! Now we can swim to the top! But this is still a ways away from where we need to go.
Yeah!
Quietly now.
Don't blink! Cut to the chase!
Things are about to get dicey. Busted.
Though, as expected, that's right. What's all this? Pink accessories, a hair tie, a necklace, even a makeup box. Oh, Paimon sees it too, but why are all these cute things? Huh? You mean the girls from the series? And then they were turned into all the boxes of things. These names. Let's see what's written here. Callus. Navia's father. Oh, this seems... Yep, this should prove the existence of the third person, right? We still have not determined the exact content of the key information. The old dog's a real menace to deal with. Even if he abides by the promise he's made to us, he can act whenever... I concur. Let's send someone to... Oh, seems like we've got a bunch of correspondence between the higher-ups. Oh, look! There's an important-looking basin over here, and it's full of water. That means this is where they make all the synth. If you dilute it with Paimon will take notes on this incriminating What's this over here? Looks like some kind of place for Experiment number 6. The experiment was a failure. No individual managed to resurface from the water from the primordial sea. Sorry, Traveler. Paimon will try her best. It's just... How can someone write something that terrible in such a matter-of-fact... You read the rest. Paimon's too scared to keep going. So that's why he did it all... Wait, did he really think he'd be able to find a way just by dissolving people over and over? That's just insane! Huh? Isn't that the name you heard by the fountain? Paimon thought he was an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. You mean Vache is the one who did all of these... So that's it! Vache... No, that's not it either! If that's the case, why would he want people to... In any case, Paimon will write it all... Whoa! There's so much synth here! And so many bottles of ingredients that probably just contain... Mixing in progress. Ready to drink? Stock sample? Whoa! There's even fruit-flavored synth? Yep, it's super... We've looked at almost everything here, and it seems like... Yeah! We haven't found anything that reveals his... No wonder even Neuvillette wasn't able to find anything. Whoever it is, that way, even if we bring all this back to the opera, we won't be able to— Sure thing! Paimon won't— You take that side and Paimon will— Ugh. Nothing at all! And Paimon can't even find snacks either! Whoa, really? Let Paimon see! Vinier. Isn't that Vache's lover's name? Then you found her diary! Aw. It's just a normal diary chronicling their love story. She was so sweet, too. Oh, Paimon feels even worse for her now. So many! A whole page's worth! But they're all crossed out. The final name she decided, Marcel. Wait, but Marcel's pretty old. Has this case been going on for... Hey!
And whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vache? Oh, so you do—
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say—
I was waiting for you to say that.
Navia! We're back!
As expected of my partner. I just knew you—
Just how often do you intend to flout the rules?
It's all right, Monsieur Nervalette. Given their confidence, I expect they've found the crucial evidence.
But the truth of it, Marcel, is that you've always been Vache.
Huh?
We've investigated your lair and we already know everything! After your lover, Vinier, was dissolved, you kept abducting young women to experiment on the hopes of bringing her back to you! You even created Marcel as a new identity and destroyed all records of your past as Vache!
So that's it. Even the villains in opera performances rarely go that far. And with that, Marcel's motive has now been established.
This information regarding your past also dismantles your prior time. Well, Marcel, do you... You fixated your gaze on the lover that passed away, instead of paying attention to the living people around you. So, you never noticed how we changed, or how we grew as individuals.
You also never understood, Boss.
Or our determination to see things through.
Your determination.
Mr. Marcel, please speak up now if you would like to defend yourself. Otherwise, the trial will move on to the next...
Do you really think I wanted to pay attention to you? What for? Have you ever paid attention to me? Ever empathized with my pain? Ever known how it feels to watch the love of your life dissolve? No one helped me. No one even believed me. All those decades ago, even the officers from the Maison Gardiennage were laughing at me. They said there's no way a human being can turn into water. So I must have gone mad from grief. Vinier's death was brushed away by all of you as if it didn't matter at all. Well, now you know, don't you? Ha! Well, it's too late now. You only have yourselves to blame. You set up this ornate opera house in pursuit of your so-called justice, your beloved drama, while turning a blind eye to the suffering of the people. Vinier is dead. We promised each other that we would always be together, wherever she goes. But I'm not from this blasted place, so I can't be dissolved.
Hey, is that water
I can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Do you all see? I can't go! I can't follow! So if I can't go where she is, what choice do I have but to try to bring her back? I did all of that, and in the end, that accursed Callus still got the... I spent my entire life living on pins and needles, only to get stabbed by his idiot daughter at the very...
The suspect is exhibiting signs of mental distress. Guards, please restrain him.
Don't touch me! Don't anybody come near me! I still need to save Vignier. Vignier, please, Vignier. Don't think badly of me. All I wanted...
At this point, the verdict of this trial is clear. With Mr. Marcel's conviction, the charges against Mr. Tartaglia...
Fine by me. I was in a bad mood, but after a show like that, I'm actually feeling pretty good.
Traveler, please submit all the evidence... The man now known as Marcel was originally named Vacher and worked as an adventurer with his partner, and during an underwater expedition, Vignier accidentally came into contact with water from the primordial sea and was dissolved in front of... Vacher learned of the primordial water's existence through the work of others and began to kidnap young women for research. With the goal of discovering a method to cover his tracks, he invented the new alias of Marcel and began to operate a business in Poisson. During the course of his research, Vacher discovered that a diluted concoction... However, as he accumulated wealth to fund his continued research, and after exchanging blows, although the assassination did not go as Vacher expected, he was able to turn Callus into the murder suspect by dissolving... And just recently, Vacher attempted to frame Linny as the culprit of the serial disappearances case, using a similar method. However, his attempt to frame Linny failed. Thus concludes the enigmatic history of the serial disappearance. The oratrice will now deliver the... According to the judgment of the oratrice guilty.
Guards! Take Vacher.
Good. It's what he deserves.
With that, the serial disappearance...
We really just witnessed...
Yippee! We have Navia bring the back. He's hurt so many innocent people. Huh? Are you okay?
Demoiselle, you were absolutely...
The day our late boss had always hoped for.
Yeah. See, Papa? Spina di Rosula's still doing well with me.
Well now, hasn't this been a most delicious piece of drama? The villain has been caught, justice has been served, past wrongs have been... Since it's been such a great show, I'll just let the false accusations against me slide. Either way, I've still got some business to attend to, so...
Please wait just one moment, Mr. Tartaglia.
What now? None of this has anything to do...
According to court protocol, since this trial was initiated due to a charge against you, a verdict must also be made regarding the initial charge before the...
Oh, come on. Is this really necessary? Haven't you already caught the real criminal? Isn't it time for
Please respect the laws of Fontain. This has always been the rule.
All right, but this sure is a lot of hassle. All I need to do is stand over there, right?
Through evidence presented in the public trial that was just held, it has been established that Mr. Tartaglia has no direct connection. The guilty party has been identified, and thus it is logical to suppose Mr. We now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on... According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, guilty.
What?
Hey! That's not funny! What's with this verdict?
Huh? This has never happened before. The Oratrice actually returned a different verdict from the Chief Justice.
I mean, have you ever heard of an innocent Fatui Harbinger? Do you think the Oratrice might have just convicted him on general principle?
But weren't the charges about the serial disappearances case? No matter what else he's guilty of, it shouldn't affect the verdict in this case, right?
The judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale is, by law, the final verdict of the court. We must accept the guilty verdict. Guards, Please take the suspect into custody per court protocol.
So this is how justice is done in Fontaine. What a joke. You've got your rules. Well, I've got mine too!
I am sorry. If you have been wronged, we will find the truth. But the rules of the court must be upheld.
Hey, Monsieur Novelette, what's going on? Shouldn't they have been—
Apologies. This is also the first time I've encountered such a situation. However, according to the rules established at the conception of Fontaine's court system, all I do is follow court procedure. As for why the Oratrice arrived at the conclusion it did, you should probably ask someone more knowledgeable than me.
Why are you looking at me? I had nothing to do with it! I don't know what happened there either! Hey, stop staring at me!
What does Lady Verena mean by that?
She says she has no idea either, but that's impossible. Didn't she create the Oratrice herself?
Yeah, so are the verdicts reliable or not? Can results like this really be—
My dearest citizens, did you really think we'd allow an incorrect verdict to be handed out in this court? Did you really believe that the judgment could be Don't tell me. You thought even I had been blindsided by the Oratrice's result.
But the way she looked just now, it was pretty obvious she had no idea what was going on.
However, given the state of things, I shall give you an explanation. Everything that just took place, including my supposed shock and bafflement, was and of course, for every performance there is a script. Everything has unfolded exactly as I expected from the very beginning. If you thought Child had nothing to do with the serial disappearances case, it is only because you've been blinded by the superficial appearance. Everything he's done, not to mention the danger he poses, are beyond ordinary comprehension. All shall be revealed in time. You will come to understand my— Now, having said that, although I hate to leave things hanging in suspense, it is now time for this performance to end.
So she chose to make her escape after all, did she?
So you're saying we shouldn't put much stock into what she just said?
She probably just put on that performance to save face. As for the truth, it's unlikely that she actually has any idea. However, please be assured that I will continue to investigate this case in a personal capacity. Just as I promised, if the judgment has been incorrect, we will do our utmost to clear his name.
All right. Even though we feel pretty badly for him, we'll take your word for it for now. After all, he's done plenty of bad stuff, so he should have known he'd go to prison someday, right?